to our Community of Voices podcast. It's the first podcast here at Chorlton High School. I wanted to introduce the reason behind why this is so successful, and that is down to the commitment and dedication of our anti-bully and mental health ambassadors.
Hi, that's us. We are a combination of Key Stage 3 and Key Stage 4 students who are passionate about creating a safe and welcoming school culture.
As always, each podcast we bring to you is a result of the bigger national drive. Our own student Have Your Say days and the real life staff opinions and experiences. So welcome, we hope you enjoy.
This year, Mental Health Awareness Month and exams collide. Whether this is progress tests, mocks or actual GCSEs, we're here today as mental health ambassadors to talk to you about how to look after yourselves during exam seasons.
With exam season coming up, it is important to stay resilient and find ways to push through even during the stressful times. The definition of resilience is the capacity to withstand or to recover quickly from difficulties, challenges and or toughness. We require resiliency not just during exams but also in our everyday lives.
From late night study sessions to the pressure of getting the perfect grade, exams can feel overwhelming, but you're not alone. In this episode, we'll explore why exam stress happens, how to look after your mind and body, and most importantly, how to manage it in a healthy and effective ways.
Though it can be hard, there's so many people there to help, such as the mental health ambassadors, safeguarding, the pastoral team and form tutors. You may be thinking, how can these people help me? They can offer support and advice in ways that help you with your tests, such as revision material and study techniques.
It is crucial to do active recall throughout the whole exam period to make sure you are well equipped for when the time comes to sit the exams you have been preparing for. Although it is equally important to make sure you prioritise your mental health.
Ways to recharge after a long study session vary. Some options are reading, exercising, meeting up with friends and socialisation. We've now reached the engaged section of this week's podcast. Today we are joined by a very special guest, Miss Banger, who is here today to talk to us about dealing with stress during exam season.
How do you deal with stress?
I think, oh gosh, that's a good question. It varies, depends what's causing the stress. There are timelines and deadlines where I feel really stressed, but then that's because I haven't done I haven't followed my own advice because I've not kept a plan, I've not kept up to date with the piece of work or the work that I said I was going to be doing. So making sure I stick to my timetable. But when I do get stressed, I sit down, I think, right, what are my deadlines? What are my priorities? And I kind of plan that in and work around the things I have to do most imminently and make sure I do that. But within that, eating well, drinking well, and where I can, just going and touching base, finding time during the day or on an evening just to sit and just chat and switch off, because that allows me to kind of reboot my energy and kind of rethink about what it is I need to be doing, but also have a bit of a balance. I feel if I'm feeling super stressed, working is only going to add to my tiredness and make me feel more stressed. I mean, having a rant and a rave every so often, that's always helpful, I feel. But doing that with the right person and letting off steam, I think that's really important. Stress, stress is a good thing actually sometimes, and the reason stress becomes a problem is when you can't manage it. When you can't manage your stress, that's when it becomes problematic. For me, stress has been part of what makes me good at my job. Stress has been part of what drives me to do well, because actually I use that stress to think, right, what am I doing? Where am I moving? On. But when I can't manage it, that's the problem. So I have to think about those strategies.
What are strategies that students can use to reduce stress during exam season?
Building in the time during your normal life. Having a plan, working out exactly what you need to do, and then plotting it as to when you can do it is probably the most important thing, because then you know what you're doing and where you need to go. But also it allows you to tick off the bits you've done, and that's always a good thing because it makes you feel positive. And then you also know how much more you've got left to do, and you can manage that. I think people feel stressed when they don't know how much more they've got left to do, or that they're feeling overwhelmed because it feels like there's too much. And if you're not making dents in that and you don't feel like you are, that kind of fear of having too much to do is always going to be there. Chunking your work and making sure that you're doing it in manageable sections. There's no point sitting there doing 3 hours of revision and not taking a break, because your brain doesn't work that way. Building in some respite and some nice stuff in between the revision sessions. And actually, probably the biggest thing I would say is having an evening off, an evening where you're doing nothing to do with revision, controversial I know, but you're doing something nice. You're playing football, you're going out to meet with your friends, you're going out for a meal, you're just watching rubbish telly or reading, whatever. But having an evening off, I think that's really, really important because it allows you to keep a bit of a balance. Obviously, towards the exam, a couple of weeks before that, you might not do that, or you might feel more stressed at doing that. So maybe having 2 hours off, but I think that's really, really important. Eating and sleeping well, you can't underestimate how massively impactful that is. Drinking water, huge, but eating sensibly. If your brain's like a living thing, you need to feed it and you need to nurture it and you need to look after it. And then sleep, absolutely. Getting your 8 hours of sleep, having a sleep routine, not feeling kind of like, oh, I've got to do more, I've got to do a bit more. It's not going to go in after a while because your brain will come to a point where it's saturated. Sleep allows you to rest, relax, and your brain to kind of process that information you've just been learning.
Do you have any advice for students currently undergoing stress due to exams?
The biggest and probably the most important thing is going to have a conversation with someone, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's your form tutor. We've got anti-bullying ambassadors here, we've got mental health advisors here, you've got student council here. Going and having a conversation, because what they will do is they'll be able to help you work out what it is that's causing the stress and then help you come up with a solution. I think that's probably the biggest thing. The other thing to remember is that you're not alone. There's loads of people that have bits of stress or massive stress, but then being able to share that with someone is not a bad thing. It's not a negative. It's about saying, I need a bit of help with this. I need to kind of manage my head around this. Show me some strategies. We've all been there. We've all done it. Going and asking for some help. And then thinking about maybe at some point, I think one of the biggest things I learned about was working at what it is that's causing me stress and then doing something about it. So thinking about if I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling tired or I'm feeling stressed, what is it that's the actual trigger for that? And then trying to track that backwards, because sometimes it can be something really small. And what that does is it stops it happening next time. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed and stressed by the exams, it's about thinking, well, what bit is it? Is it because I've started too late? Next time I'll start early. Is it because my hours are too long? Let me work out what my timings are. Is it because someone's pecking my head? That person's not in my life at this moment in time because I need to focus on my exams or I need to focus on my work. Cut out the negative voices, cut out the thing. And also don't believe the hype. When people say, oh, I'm not revising or I'm not stressed or I'm not that, don't believe that. Actually, know that people are doing it, but they're doing it differently. And if they're not, they're idiots. So that's on them.
We are now at the empower stage of our podcast where we will give you thoughts of the week. Our greatest weakness in life lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to just try one more time.
Have a think about how you are going to support yourself as the stress of tests and exams approach us.
We are the future. The future's looking good. We are the future. The future's looking good.